Hi, I'm Mindy Peters, the Solutions Manager at SPI, and in this video, I am going to walk you through getting started setting up a brand new community on Circle. We'll go over to Circle and we will redeem a 14-day free trial, and we will get started customizing the community. Now, this will just get you started, and in subsequent videos, I'll take you through more steps in customizing your community. But this is what you need to do right away as you're getting started in Circle. If you're looking for a more comprehensive sort of walkthrough of all the settings that we're using over in our SPI Pro community, we have a different video for that, and I'll link to that in the description here. So at SPI, we've been using Circle we're coming up on almost 2 years now, and we have 2 different communities that we are running in the platform. So we have spent just a lot of time playing with the settings, figuring out what we like best to sort of help facilitate our community. We've got our SPI Pro community. That is a paid community of established, experienced online business owners, and that is where they can meet and have mastermind groups. They can have discussions on various topics about their business. We have a lot of special events for the community. And then we also have our SPI Academy community. This is a community for all of the students of our courses, and it is where students can get feedback, ask questions about the homework that they're working on, get feedback on their ideas for their various aspects of their business, whether it's podcasting or webinars or just starting a new business from scratch. And if you would like to sort of get in and explore the SPI Academy, you can join that for free by signing up for our free Build Your Own Brand course. And there'll be a link to that in the description as well, in case you just want to get in and sort of poke around and see what an established community looks like. But let's get started setting up a community from scratch. To do that, you can go to Circle.so, or if you would like to use our affiliate link so that we make a little bit of money off of your membership at no extra cost to you, you can use our affiliate link. Just go to smartpassiveincome.com/getcircle. So here I am at Circle. I will click on the Get Started button. And from here, you can fill out a new account, or if you already have a Circle account, you can just go ahead and log in. Once you've created your account, you're going to see this little screen to work through, and this is to just set up the basics of your community. And as it says at the top, you can always change this information later. So I'm going to go ahead and start setting up my community. Because this account is for demonstration purposes only, I'm going to set up kind of a silly community that we will be using in the future for our demonstration videos. We have a little joke over internally at the Team SPI. We have the Ask Pat podcast, so sometimes we talk about the Ask Cat podcast. So this is going to be the Ask Cat community. So the first decision that you need to make here is whether or not your community is going to be private or public. And you can always change this later. There's some trade-offs here. If you are planning to put your community up on your website and you want people to be able to see and read messages, even just some of the messages in your community without having to sign in, you will want to make your community public. You'll keep it public. You won't flip that switch. I am going to make our community private to get started. I think that sort of until you're ready to launch, it doesn't hurt to make your community private, just so that you can do a lot of development work without that being exposed to somebody who might stumble upon your community. So to get started, I am going to make this community private. Our SPI Pro and our SPI Academy communities are both private. You have to be a member in order to read any of the content on those communities. The decision is totally up to you. There are a lot of really great public Circle communities. When I flip this switch, the Allow Visitors to Sign Up switch is going to go away. This box appears, and this is the information you want to get in case somebody lands on your community site on Circle. This is going to tell them where to go to sign up to become a member of your community. And so let me show you what this looks like over in our SPI Pro community. So over here in the first line, it's just a little, basically like a little tagline here, not a member. Click here to learn more and apply to join. And then the link takes you over to our SPI Pro community sales page on our website at smartpassiveincome.com. So that's an example of what you would fill in here if you were making your community private. Now let me show you what it looks like if we keep this a public community. We have this allow visitors to sign up. If I turn this switch off, that is just going to make it so people can look at your community, but there is not going to be any sort of easy way to figure out how to join your community. To get started right now, I am going to have that switch flipped over to make it a private community, but I'm not going to fill in this link information right now. I can go and do that later. All right, so here's the branding section. You can choose the color. Just click right here to either use the color picker or you can enter the hex code for your color. And then you can upload both a logo and an icon. Let me show you the difference. So over in the SPI Pro community, here is the logo up here, and then here is the icon. The icon ends up in the community switcher on the side. So if a member of your community is a member of multiple Circle communities, once they've signed into one of them, they'll be able to access all of their communities from this little switcher here. So again, this is the icon and this is the logo. Now we're still developing the branding for our fun little community here, so I'm just going to leave those blank. I'll come back and fill those in at a later date. All of this is great, like, you don't have to have everything ready to go before you set up your Circle community. You can do these things in stages. I'll hit continue. All right, and then the next step is you are going to be prompted to create a profile for yourself. Now you are the community administrator. And even if you're already a member of other Circle communities and you have profiles over there, you can set up a separate profile for each Circle community that you're in so that it's customized to that community. So you can take a little bit of time to fill in some information about yourself and how you are there to help your community members. Scrolling down the page here, we've got a couple of other things. You can make your email publicly visible, so anybody within your community would be able to see your email address if you flip this switch on. And then you can show your profile in the member directory. So I'm going to choose right now to keep that switch flipped off for showing my email, but I do want to show up in the member directory. And then there's some other things we can fill in here. If we flip the switch here, we can fill in extra links that we might want to share in our member profile. So if you want to share your Twitter profile, your Facebook profile, all of that, you can share that in here. Just put that information in here. And then under permissions, this switch is maybe a little counterintuitive. When the switch is off, that means people can message you privately through Circle's direct messaging. If you flip the switch on, that means you're turning messaging off. So that means people can't message you. So if I keep this to green, that means I'm preventing people from being able to directly message me. I'm going to keep it on so that other members of this community can send me direct messages. We'll hit continue. And from here, now we are at our community. So the first thing you'll see here is an opportunity to sign up for a demo, which is amazing. I would absolutely recommend that you take advantage of that. Just click on the button to pick a time. I'm going to say no thanks because I am very familiar with Circle. All right, so Circle has given us an incredibly helpful checklist for getting started with setting up our community. And I'm not going to walk through every one of these elements in this video. What I'm going to do is just give you a really quick orientation on sort of where to find different things here. And then you can work through this checklist and we will create subsequent videos to help you with the process of working through this checklist. The first thing you need to know here as we sort of orient ourselves to the Circle platform is to look at this bar across the top. And on the right-hand side here, here's where you're going to find a lot of the things that you need to do. So this first button here, this is to take you straight to the list of your members, to help you manage members. This is a place where you can invite new members straight from here. You can import members in bulk if you already have an existing group of people that you want to add straight into your community. I am just going to show you the process of inviting a single person. I will click on invite. And I will fill out this information here for the member that I would like to invite. So to invite a member here, you're going to fill out the name and the email address. If you want to customize the invitation email that gets sent out, so you can preview it here. Customizing the email is a feature of a paid plan. So before you can customize the email, you do need to sign up for a paid plan. But right now we're just working on a trial version, so I am not going to customize that email. If you would set up tags, which we have not done yet, you could apply some tags to your member here. I just want to invite the other person who will be an administrator in this community. So as I scroll down the page here, I have the opportunity to add tags, add them to spaces and space groups, which we haven't set up yet. Not going to do anything there. I'm just going to flip this switch here to give that person administrative privileges, and then I will go ahead and click invite. And so now my other administrator has been invited into the community, and we can start customizing the community together. Okay, so I was showing you this button here. The next button over is where you're going to be doing a lot of your work, and this is the settings section. And this is where you will walk through and set up all of the customizations for your community. And as I said earlier, I have a really long video that is linked in the description where I walk through all of the settings that we use over in the SPI Pro community, sort of how we've customized that community. For now, I just wanted to show you that this is here and this exists, and you can flip through these things. This is where you can customize the onboarding experience for your member once you have a paid plan set up. This is where you can set up tags for your members, and that's really easy to do. You just click on member tags, give the tag a name. So we will say, so I'll have a team cat and a team dog. So I'm going to set up team cat. I can give it an emoji if I'd like. I can change the color just by clicking here or putting in a hex color, all of that. And then I'm going to keep this switch on, show this tag on member profiles. The options here let you customize what that tag is going to look like in various places within the community. And then down below, if you already had a bunch of people in your community that you wanted to add to this brand new tag, you could just start typing in their names. And then when you hit create, that tag will be automatically added to them. I'm going to hit create here, and we'll do one more tag. So now I've set up team dog. And I will hit create. All right, so I've got a couple of tags that have been set up here. As you're setting up your community, just go flip through all of these setting options just to sort of see what's there. You probably won't need to configure everything right away, but I just want you to take a quick flip through, see what all exists, so that later on when you are trying to do some work and you're like, oh, where was that digest email thing? I want to, send out a weekly email to my community members. Where is that? You will know you've already seen it here in the settings menu. The next element here in the menu at the top is this little bell. And if you click on that, this is where all of your notifications live. And so right now it's going to be empty. But once your community is up and running, people are commenting on things, people are liking things, you're going to start to see your notifications fill up in this menu. The next one over here, this is Circle's direct messaging. So if you have direct messaging turned on, so if you did not flip the switch to prevent members from messaging you, you can have one-on-one or small group conversations with other members here that are private that the rest of the community can't access. The last icon in this menu on the upper right here is just your profile icon. And if you click on that, you will see a variety of settings here that are related to just you and your profile. So if I click on my profile, it's going to pull up what my public profile is within the community. And if we click on edit profile here, this is going to take us back to that settings menu, but down at the bottom under account, these are the settings related directly to just you and your account. Notifications is where you go and you customize, you fine tune the types of notifications that you want to receive. And then authentication is where you can set yourself a brand new password. And finally, if we click on settings, that is just going to take us to the same place that this little settings wheel takes us to. All right, so to get back into our community, we can click right here, back to community, or you can click on your community logo here. We'll go back to community. So this brings us back to our community. And the last thing that we will look at here in today's video is setting up spaces. And you can see in our setup checklist here, setup spaces is one of the items on the basics checklist. So there is basically two terms that you should know when it comes to Circle. Circle has what they call spaces and what they call space groups. So a space is like an individual message board on a topic, and a space group is a collection of those message boards. I'm going to take you back into the SPI Pro community where you can see what some spaces and space groups look like. So here in SPI Pro, you can see that this right here, the member center, that is what we would call a space group. It's sort of like the container or the folder for all of these individual spaces. So let's take a look at what we have in the member center. We have the Start Here space. And this is a collection of posts that we have set up, that our team has set up to walk new members through. Here's what you do when you join SPI Pro. First, read this. Next, join the kickoff meeting. Third, take the new member challenge, and on and on. These are individual posts within the Start Here space, which is within the Member Center space group. When it comes to permissions inside of Circle, you can add members to a space group. If you add them to a space group, they will have access to every single space within that group. Or you can have people be a member of just an individual space within a space group so that you could restrict access. Let me show you an example of a space group like that, where members are part of only one space within the larger space group. This is our Masterminds space group, and all of the spaces within this space group are private. You need to be invited by an admin to join any one of these spaces. That's why we see a lock here. That's one of the nice things about Circle, is Circle really lets you fine-tune access within the community. It's not just if someone's a member of your community, they automatically have access to everything. No, you can put in restrictions. And what's nice about that, so running a business is a very vulnerable activity, and sometimes you want to talk about the things that are hard or scary, but you maybe don't want 500 people to be able to read, what you're saying about feeling vulnerable, but maybe you're willing to share that with 7 other people. Well, that is why we have these little private spaces in here for these mastermind groups, so that, only the 8 members and the admins can see what's happening inside of that group. So what does that mean back in your empty community? Here's how you get started creating a space. You can click here on create a space, or you can click this little plus sign. So in the little drawer that opens up on the side here, I'm just going to call this my welcome space, and it is going to go into the spaces space group because that's the only one I have set up. We'll set up another space group in just a minute. We'll click on this switch. That means that anytime somebody joins the spaces space group, they automatically end up in the welcome group. You can leave that off if you want people to have to add themselves manually when they join that space group. Keep it simple. We're going to keep that switch on. From here, we have a choice to make. Is this welcome group going to be a group where we're making posts, where we're making updates, where people are writing about things that are happening? Or is this going to be a space group for an events listing? For this one, we're going to keep it at posts. And then we've got 3 types of access here. And you can see there's a little description here to help you remember what each one of them is. So open means anybody who is a member of my community can see that this space group exists and can choose to join it. Private means that you have to be invited. So back in the mastermind group here, these are private. So I as a non-member can see that they exist, but I need to be invited in order to join. That is what private looks like. Then secret means that only people who are in that space will even know that it exists. And an example of that We have within the SPI Pro community, we have the archive space group, and this is a completely secret space group, and all of these are secret. I can see that they exist because I'm an admin, but a regular member would not be able to see that these things exist. And this is just where we are either archiving past things that have happened, but we want to keep a record of them, or it's a place for us to go and test out new features without everybody in the community seeing that they exist. So to get started, you're probably going to make most of your spaces open. And then you can set the default settings for notifications. I'm just going to choose in-app. All right. And then I will hit create a space. There we go. And now my space has been added, and the settings for this individual space live right here in settings. We'll leave it at that, but we'll come back later and make a more detailed video on space settings. To make a new space group, you'll come and hover right here on the little divider in between your spaces and your links. Click on that. And this will let you create a new space group. There are a variety of different permissions that you can tweak here, and if you're not sure what any of them are, just hover over the little question mark and that'll give you a definition of what's happening here. The one that I am definitely going to be sure to keep off here is allow members to create spaces. I want to keep that off. That would let, inside of your space group, any member of your community make a new space. And if we sort of allow that, things can get out of hand really fast. So in general, I would definitely recommend keeping that switch off. The rest of it, all of this is up to you and your community. I am going to flip the switch here to automatically add members to the group if they join a space inside of it. And for now, I'll keep it at that. I'm going to hit create. And you can see we've got a new space group here on the side, and then I can click here to create a space inside of that space group. Now to get yourself back to that helpful getting started checklist, we're just going to click here on getting started, and that'll bring us back to this checklist with all of our resources. There is a really great walkthrough video here that you absolutely should watch. That'll help you understand what's going on here inside of Circle. So this should get you started with the process of setting up your community. Spend time poking around, looking into things, seeing what all of your options are. But where I would recommend you begin is just with starting to envision how you want to organize the spaces within your community. What do you anticipate people within your community wanting to talk about? How can you set up a welcome space group to sort of help them orient themselves within your community? That's where I would recommend you spend the bulk of your time, right off the bat, is just really thinking about the organization of your community. And then we can go through and tweak the onboarding processes after that. We are creating a lot of videos about working with Circle, so be sure to check out the Circle playlist on this channel to help you with the process of customizing your community and help answer those questions. If you have any specific questions about working with Circle, you can leave them in the comments below. And if you're brand new, you're just going to get set up with Circle, you can use our affiliate link. Go to smartpassiveincome.com/getcircle.